Thank you, Sidi Jamal. I will not give a speech, just a few remarks. I thank the Eritrean Lowland League German branch for the invitation to come here. I have been following the events in the Horn of Africa and in particular in Eritrea since September 1965. That is now 50 years. I'm now 70. So throughout my adult life I was associated with Eritrea. In the 1980s I lived altogether close to 1 year with Shabia in the operational areas following the course of the war. I was working 10 years in a German social organization with Eritrean and Ethiopian refugees. After 91, I worked in Ethiopia as a development agent for German as a development organization. In 2000, I was deported from Ethiopia for pro-Eritrean attitudes. That happens. I have always had a strong attachment to Eritrea as a country and the people. But naturally, I had always also contact with the political organizations. In the 80s, I supported the EPLF because I believed that this is the only organization which can win the war against the Ethiopian occupier. But I always had contact also with the other Eritrean organizations, which did not endear me to the EPLF. In November 91, I was the first of the former friends who was banned from entering liberated Eritrea because they did not like my assessment of the situation. Later on I was allowed again in, then I was banned in again because I always had my independent assessment. And in 91, after the end of the war against Ethiopia, all friends of Eritrea and the Eritreans themselves had the hope that now, after this long struggle and the end of Ethiopian occupation, there would be in independent Eritrea national reconciliation to heal the wounds among Eritreans from the liberation struggle, to create a prosperous independent Eritrea in which all Eritrean nationalities and Eritreans of all religions would be living together as equals to build a new prosperous state. However, all these hopes were disappointed. Instead, what happened after May 91 was the establishment of a one-party, one-person dictatorship, which is still dominating Eritrea today, where all citizens of Eritrea are robbed of their political rights, but where half of Eritrea is doubly oppressed, not only in a general political sense, but also their rights as nations, nationalities, their linguistic rights, their cultural rights, their religious rights. Their land is taken from them for the benefit of the ruling elite of the other half of the Eritreans. The Eritrean opposition to the government in Asmara, to the regime in Asmara, is trying since many years to bring together an alternative which could replace this regime. Unfortunately, as you know better than I do, all these attempts so far had not been very successful. Therefore, some friends of Eritrea recently took an initiative to facilitate the communication and the interaction between Eritrean opposition organizations with a view to promote a joint undertaking against promoting a way to achieve a change in Eritrea and to prepare for the change which inevitably will come to Eritrea. The Felsberg Institute, of which I'm a member, was an inviting organization for that, for a seminar here in Frankfurt, where also the Eritrean Lowland League participated. And the result of this conference or this meeting was very positive, and we will also continue to work on that. I dearly and sincerely hope that it will not take another 50 years because a change is coming to Eritrea, because I would like to be able to visit the Eritrea before I pass away and to have this Eritrea which we were hoping to get in '91. Finally, allow me to address one issue. Many young Eritreans have come in the past 3-4 years to Germany as refugees. And the German government, through the labor agency, the labor office, is now trying to gather information in order to assess the vocational training of young Eritrean refugees here, to facilitate their integration into the training process and into the labor market. Some of those young Eritreans coming here, they have been attending vocational schools in Eritrea, like Hagas, Don Bosco in Degamare, or they were in Sava Vocational Training Center. They have reported their experience, the vocational trainings they had when they did their interviews. Naturally, they do not have the certificates, but the labor agency has been instructed to take note of these, and attempts are made to evaluate this kind of training to make integration of these young refugees as easier. As I'm one of the few experts on Eritrea here in Germany, finally I was approached by the labor agency to establish a country profile vocational training in Eritrea, so that they have a kind of guideline how to evaluate the training background of young refugees, and maybe even issue them substitute certificates, whatever. And I'm now looking for young Eritreans who have been to Sava Vocational Training Center or any other vocational training center in Eritrea in the past 3-4 years. If there is anyone around here with this kind of background, please contact me later on. I think this initiative by the German government to assess the vocational training background of young refugees, it's a very valuable one, because it will all help you or people with this background to get an easier integration and find it easier to get additional training and to find it easier also to get jobs. So please, if you have this background, contact me later. Thank you.
قميص بنا سروال وسديد يكون بالله كمل بنا